Maybe we could start by you telling us, kind of orally, where and about when you were born and.
I was born in Portland, December 4th, 1947. I've lived here up until 1977, when I moved to Seattle. Moved back in 93.
And you were doing something in Social Security, weren't you?
I started federal service. I started here. Actually did my training in Portland. Moved to Seattle. I was with Social Security for 8 years. Then I went to the Office for Civil Rights. And my last federal job was with the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement, the regulatory agency for enforcing child support. And with my responsibility was for the state of Alaska.
When the years that you were in Seattle, were you in and out of here?
Oh, I came back, yeah.
Yeah.
My parents were sick, and my mother had a long illness, and my dad, he actually had a short illness, but both of them died here. So.
And your father was the man who built and opened Neighborhood Bill's grocery store?
No, my grandfather of sorts and my grandmother built the store.
What's the name?
Belle, B-E-L-L-E, Benton was my grandmother, and Roy Livingston. They built the store August of 1947. And my dad was discharged from the service in Seattle in 45. And they asked him to come down. So we all moved, I think it was in September of 47.
You were born shortly after?
Yeah.
Now, what about your brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have 3 brothers. One older, Bill Jr., and then 2 younger, Raleigh Benton and Greg Benton. This is the article. This was in the Clarion.
Clarion, Jimmy Bang Bang Walker's paper.
And this is the store in 47. No. And this was when it closed.
That's wonderful.
My aunt found the picture of this old store when my maternal grandmother died in Arkansas, and she found this picture where they sold coal and all that kind of stuff. McKinley probably remembers that part.
Yeah.
All I remember is the end of it. Well, I remember a lot of it, but I don't remember the old stuff.
Well, for those of us, you're just a little bit older than me. We have to depend on what people told us
Yes.
and hope we remember it.
Yes.
So did you grow up on 61 Northeast San Rafael?
No, I didn't live there, no. That was my grandmother's home, and she had roomers, as they call them then, because a lot of the guys working on the shipyard railroad couldn't get a room anywhere else, so she had people have always lived there. But we lived, from what I understand, we lived a few houses down for a while, then we moved to Cook Street. And that's my first memory of a home.
Do you remember the address on
89 Northeast Cook.
It's right off the Williams there, that first block.
Yeah, right on the corner by Rodney, and yeah, it burned down 10, 15 years ago, and then Habitat built a house right there on the corner, which it really surprised. One day I went a shortcut down the street, and there it was, and it looks almost exactly like our house.
Really?
Yeah, great big white house on the corner. And yeah, we lived there, I think, till 50. I was in 7th grade, whatever that was, and moved to Mallory, 5045 Northeast Mallory.
So your father worked in the grocery store?
Oh, we all did,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, most people, when they talk about the store, they always call it Neighborhood Bill's because, you know, he became like the focal point of it. He was a short, loud man, so people always remembered him.
Who was Pearl Caldwell?
See, I don't remember her, but
No,
in the
where-
art, she's the one
Where
that,
are you seeing that?
In the second to last paragraph.
yeah, she was one of my grandmother's neighbors.
You know, I'll bet you Pearl Caldwell might be Ed Caldwell's mother. And Ed Caldwell is a member of our history committee. He's a retired pharmacist.
Mm.
His father was a railroad cook.
Uh-huh.
And I think his mother's name was Pearl.
And if it's too cold in here, are you guys cold?
No,
Oh, okay.
comfortable. I'll have to ask him. I'm going to talk to him.
Did you say your grandfather's name was Lloyd or Roy?
Roy.
Roy, okay.
Uh-huh.
So, Mr. Livingston, it was his grocery store,
Well,
saying it was your dad's.
yeah, they asked him to come down.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, he bought him out. That was in the 50s, I think. He bought him out. It wasn't because Roy was doing some of everything. In fact, I was going through some things, and I found one of his old business cards when he had Roy did hauling, he did yards.
Nothing too loud and too small.
Yeah, and see, that's when they use the initials rather than numbers for phones. You probably don't remember that, but yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because it was TU, it used to be AT.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still remember
Oh, yeah.
my
And you can
parents
tell, yeah.
exchange like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Hauling of any kind, nothing too large or
Yeah.
too small.
Now, how come they had different names?
Oh, they weren't married.
They wasn't married, okay.
That's why it's my grandfather of sorts.
Okay.
But they always said they were just friends. But, you know, it's because I think my grandmother was married at that time. But no, you'd never know that. You know, they were strictly separate. Everything, you know, his was upstairs, hers was upstairs, his was downstairs. No, very big house, but yeah.
How long did Belle Benton and Roy Livingston stay at San Rafael? Because when we met you the first time in February, one of the things that you said was that your grandmother moved from there in the 80s, early 80s.
Right, she sold her house in the 80s. Moved to, I mean, she was getting real old and, you know, needed an apartment. But yeah, she moved to in one of those places on Schuyler behind the post office there. And then, yeah, but a house, actually a friend of mine bought it. And, you know, they live there now.
Mm.
Yeah, painted it.
Is she still alive?
Oh no, my grandmother. She died in late 80s, 89.
And when did Mr. Livingston?
See, Roy died, I don't remember where I was now. Roy died in the mid-70s. Yeah, he used to have a barbecue joint on Columbia Boulevard, somewhere on the industrial. He did a little bit of everything. I think that's how we got to the West Coast, because he came to work on the highway, Alaska Highway,
Really?
Canadian, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they came from Minnesota.
No, I know I probably missed it, but where did you live at when you was growing up? Where did you?
The first place was 89 Northeast Cook. We lived there, I think, till, I don't remember exactly. I wish
said
that
till
been
seventh grade.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And then we moved to 5045 Northeast Mallory.
Okay.
And did you stay there pretty much?
Yeah, until I, let's see, when did I leave? Had to have been when I got my first, 74.
What school did you go to? Elementary and?
Elementary, I went to Boise, and then to what is now King. It used to be Highland.
Highland.
And in high school was Girls Poly, which is no longer.
No.
Girls Polytechnic is all girls going. Yeah. Like Benson was all, at
Yeah,
that time,
for
always.
always.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was up the street. Yeah. This was all girls. And then I went to Clark Junior College. Mm-hmm. And then PCC. And then when I really found out what I wanted to do, I went to Portland State.
Okay. Was it Portland State at the time? Or was it Portland
Portland
High?
State.
It was Portland State.
Is that where you met McKinley?
Yeah. Well, I knew McKinley before then.
Because everybody knew him.
From the store. He was my, friend of my dad, and he used to come in there all the time. And my dad was a talker too, so I mean, it was like overhear a lot of stuff. So yeah, and then I went to graduate school at Portland State, social work, school of social work.
Was you one of the? When did you do that?
Okay, I graduated from Portland State in '70. So in '70 to '72, I got my master's. And then in '74, I got one of the first certificates in Black Studies. It took that long before we could get an accredited program.
Yeah.
So I went back to get the rest of my credits. Because that was one of the degrees I really wanted.
Was you one of the first blacks in a graduate program in the social work?
Well, the year I went, we had the biggest class of blacks only because there was a suit filed against the university because they had no American-born minorities in that class. Mm-hmm. So there was a group of us, and we all worked at a Head Start program together. All went. I think there were 5 of us, but there were more people who came in from East Coast, and like Talitha Benjamin. I don't know if you talked to her. Yeah, Kay Turan. They were in the class before us, but we were in the freshman.
And then both of them worked for CSD now. Really high up.
Well, Talitha was too, yeah. But Talitha retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, she lives other side of the park.
Because my brother-in-law used to work for her.
For Talitha?
Mm-hmm. I think that's her. That family been here for a little while.
Yeah, and a whole bunch of Benjamins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her husband's family. The whole town is related to them Benjamins. Yeah. And Petrie.
You told us when we talked briefly in February that the grocery store closed in about '83. Your mother had passed away the previous year.
Yes.
Nobody was interested in running the store, or so much had changed.
Well, some of that, no, I think I can see who was here. I think all 3 of my brothers were here. I was still in Seattle, but the community had changed. I think crack and the gangs had started, and my dad, was working. He had kind of not given up, but he was tired after my mother died.
Yeah.
He couldn't get my brothers involved, and so it was time for him to quit. But it kind of was somebody else that picked it up. Plus the fact that the Portland Packaging Company wanted the property because they've expanded and they did. They bought him out, and then he allowed the store to run until they were ready to use the property. Because they also owned the house that Ronnie Steen lived in, his mother's house, and then they tore it down for a parking lot, which was a beautiful house. I mean, just still had gas lantern thing. Yeah, and she had them replay, but Ruthie did a lot of work. They were born in Coos Bay. Now, his family was all born down in Coos Bay.
Wow. That's someone else in the
Oh yeah.
They have a rich history.
Yes. His grandmother was a worm lady.
Mrs. Tuggle.
Yeah.
I have visions of her out there in her nightgown with a lantern. It Dawn
Yeah.
What
from the
the
stories out
Yeah,
there to
the worm
raise the
lady.
worms. And McKinley said people came from all
To get her
over the
because
place
they were
to
good
get her
night
worms.
crawlers. Yes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember watching my father do that. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have a business. But
Yeah, you go out and get them, yeah. You just stick
To help
an electric rod in the ground
Oh,
and
really?
they hook wire to a screwdriver and plug it in and stick it in the ground. It shocks the worms up.
Oh.
That's a cheap
We
way of
wasn't
doing
that- We wasn't that fancy.
it. No, that wasn't
We was
thinking
out
you
there.
can buy those things now. But yeah, no, we had to dig or either go see Miss Tubble.
Boy. You were probably a little, you would have only been 10, 11 years old when they were doing the demolition for Memorial Coliseum.
Oh, I remember part of it when people had to move. You know, some of those, there were a lot of big old houses down there. But I don't remember a whole lot about it. But, yeah.
It wasn't dramatic. I mean, and you were just a child, but did it seem like the community was being dramatically changed to you as a young person?
See, I didn't, it didn't affect me. We knew there was going to be a place we could go that was in walking distance, you know, if we could go. But yeah, I don't remember anything, or I don't recall hearing anything negative about it.
How about all of the destruction on Williams Avenue for Emmanuel Hospital?
Right, see, that I remember more about. You know, people were upset. I mean, because either they had to agree to sell or they can, you know, not condemn or whatever they did.
Eminent
for the
domain.
eminent domain, yes. Because there were a lot of old big houses there too, you know. That.
All those stores,
Yes. Yeah,
businesses.
yeah, and the park change. And then even on Russell, you know, with the, even though they saved the dome of the old
Hill Block.
drugstore and put it over there, but it had changed a lot. Because at one summer I was at one time they had park directors. Well, one summer I was park director at Dawson Park. We called Dawson Park there, but the community. That's before a lot of the Emmanuel stuff started. But when it started, the whole community really. I mean, it's nice and green, but a lot of the taste of it is gone. Yeah, the little hole-in-the-wall restaurants and stuff are gone.
Do you remember that lifestyle?
Oh,
back
yes,
then, how,
yes.
And I know a lot of people, you know, they regret it and how they destroyed the social fabric.
Right, because you could meet at different places, you know, you could go, you know, the doctors and dentists was right down the street, or you could go up the street and have your clothes pressed or, you know, buy some jewelry. There's a hat shop, Mr. Nielsen, although he's in Lloydson now, on the Nielsen's jewelry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's over fancy part of it. But he people from the community still go to him, who recall him. But yeah, got my first ring from him.
Was he black or white?
His wife. His daughter works there with him. I haven't been over there, but he used to be right on the one on Weidler, and then I thought he had moved, but then somebody else told me, because her mother still goes to him.
Oh, okay.
And she showed me how you walk across the overpass, and and his daughter's there, and he remembered them. So I'm sure once I told him I was neighborhood Bill's daughter, he'd remember me.
Do you think that it was ever replaced, that line?
No, because you know there were a lot of clubs, and for me, a lot of different entertainers would come, you know, and because the store was there, they come around. Cotton Club is right behind us, you know, and it wasn't all. I don't remember what was there before, but once Paul got it and started doing the Cotton Club, and then we had the Texas Club, you know, and all these different clubs, and you know, it was you know, a bustling kind of community, and the store was never really a profitable place, but people always came. They mainly came for the sausage, but you know, they came to see my dad, and they talk, and you know, different people come through town. Somebody told them to come there to get sausage, but you know, that way we saw a lot of different people, and we were exposed to a lot of that.
Every time I read all the newspaper accounts of that, or you see photographs, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, I mean,
And that nothing was built.
yeah, I mean, there are parts of it that needed to come down, but it was a community, and it was, I always often wonder what happened. Oh, well, most of them are probably the older people I know, have gone, but I've often wondered what happened to some of the families that were
where
there.
did they go?
Yeah, yeah,
Wherever you could.
yeah.
Wherever you could.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the census data shows that the black population moved north towards
like we
this
did.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now people are moving back into that area.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it black people?
No.
The gentrification.
Yeah. Because what's that? Guys, the female impersonator.
Yeah.
Darcel.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, my friend's house. Yeah.
He's been down there on San Rafael for
Long
at least since the 70s.
Yeah. Or Thompson, isn't he?
Yeah, Thompson on the
Thompson, yeah.
corner there.
Yeah.
Rocky and Walter.
Yeah.
Who was in that house before they bought it?
If that one, I think it was the Benjamins, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah. But a friend of mine.
It's that big one on the corner.
Yeah.
Was a kind of a tower.
Yeah. And then the Warrens lived around there.
Mel Renfro with his family.
Huh?
Mel Renfro lived on
Yeah.
On Fargo.
Yeah.
So, tell us what you know about the Proctor family.
Oh.
Kim had scheduled an interview with Marguerite Proctor,
Uh-huh.
and when she called her to say, we're, coming over this afternoon to see you, Mrs. Proctor just kind of hardly remembered, and
Yeah. No, she's a Togo.
we knew there was some connection with the
There's
Stewart family.
quite a few of two of the Marguerite and I can't remember the other one. Two of the sisters married two of the Proctors. There is a daughter. Marguerite has a daughter. Can't remember her name. But Mr. Proctor, I remember him because his property had kitty corner to my dad's store. He had huge. I think the overhaul place is there now or something. Yeah, but there was a business in the basement. I don't remember what that was, but I remember Mr. Proctor, a whole bunch of sons. But I don't remember what they did. Some of that leaves me, but I do remember. He was older as I remember him. I don't remember anything about any of the stuff. I must have been high school age as soon as.
So you considered him an elderly person when you were in high school?
Yeah. Could have been grade school too, but yeah, because as soon as we could write, we all had to go to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on stock day, which I still remember, it was always on a Thursday. My dad would write the number, and we'd have to mark everything with that number. So that was our job, putting up bottles or sorting bottles or stocking shelves. But so I remember a lot of the people who used to come in the store, and I remember Mr. Proctor, but I don't remember anything specific about him. Marguerite's got to be way up in her 80s now.
She is.
Yeah.
And that was one of the factors, too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be real sensitive and catch people on the right day.
Or at the right minute.
Right minute,
Yeah. Or Ronnie probably could
Or
tell you, where her daughter is. Because her daughter, well, she's older than me, but she only had the one, as I recall.
But how is she related to the Proctor?
Okay, Marguerite is his aunt.
Oh, okay.
Marguerite is sister to his mother.
Okay.
Yeah, there were a bunch of
Proctor girls and boys.
No, Tuggle.
Oh, Tuggles.
I only remember one Proctor girl, but a whole bunch of brothers.
Do you remember, there's a house that Willie Harris owns, the White House. It's 2007, I think, North Williams, that a couple by the name of Pickett lived. Clara.
On the corner
Sherman Pickett.
of San Rafael.
Uh-huh.
I remember the house, yeah.
Do you remember the Picketts at all?
Mm-mm. See, I remember the last person I remember who lived in there was a guy we call Sarge. I mean, he was ex-military.
An older man?
Yeah. He was old then. I thought everybody was old then, but yeah. Yeah.
Was it Sergeant White by any chance? Sergeant Joe White?
So we just call him Sarge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
About what years about do you remember? That would have been in the 60s. Because Mrs. Pickett was still there. And he died. Sherman Pickett died about 61, I think.
Okay. Could have been the late 50s, early 60s, yeah.
I'm going to talk to Willie Harrison. I'm not sure how much he knows of
yeah.
the house history because it's all before him.
Right.
But he has quite a history too.
Well, I don't know how long
Some
he's
of it.
been here, though. I don't know if he was born and raised here
He's
or...
been here a long time.
Yeah, I know he has some illegal stuff and history, but he's been here a while.
Yeah, there's been a lot of that.
He's
You know, that.
Yeah.
You know, because like my grandmother, I know she had after-hours stuff, and she may have sold. You know, a lot of people used to sell dinners, and my friend who bought her house, I didn't realize she had a attic where the guys used to rent rooms up there, and because you know they couldn't get it anywhere else. But I know she had, because her basement was a party room, and she.
Kind of like Mrs. That lady that next door to me.
You know, her after-hours place, yeah.
Oh, Effie Ellis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who owned Tropicana?
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of that, and you never really thought about it, but... And then there was a passage that went from her basement underneath to the ground. I never knew that. So that must have been... Well, they got out when the police came.
And which house was this?
My grandmother's house.
Really?
Yeah, because when they bought it, she said he opened the... my friend's husband found this door that went under the bar underneath, and it was a passage all the way to the garage.
Still there, you think?
Yeah, they
Wow.
opened it. He found it. I said, I never knew that. Never knew there was an attic. There was a big old house, so I guess I should have assumed there was. Do you have like some cookie or pop or anything?
This coffee is really good. It is common in a lot of black communities all over. Because you know, when I grew up, my good friend of our family, she still runs this after hours, and it's just part of our Sunday routine.
Yeah.
And when you got old enough, you was able to buy beer or something.
Yes, I remember the dinners. You know, people would sell dinners out of the houses and stuff like that. You could go to somebody's house, you know, you'd want a dinner. Yeah, oh yeah.
You go back to the newspapers in the 20s, and somebody's having dinners at their house to raise money because their husband is sick
Yeah.
and can't work for a while.
Yeah.
These are the days before health insurance and
Yeah.
unemployment and all that stuff happened
Church
all
dinners,
over.
yeah.
Church benefit dinners at their house,
Yeah. I don't know.
boarding houses.
Yeah.
I knew about the churches, you know, really into that, but I didn't know that other people did it.
Yeah, because my aunt in Minnesota did it, and she was telling me that one of those gangsters, which is Babyface, whichever one was in...
Babyface Nelson.
Yeah, was in the Minnesota area, who had come there for dinners.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Boy.
yeah, Aunt Pearl could cook. But Aunt Pearl said, you know, she fixed dinners for anybody. She's selling anybody, but they would come. You know, the gangsters come that way.
Were your grandparents or your parents active in any of the fraternal organizations?
I know my dad was Mason, my mother Eastern Star.
Do you remember what lodge he went to? Did he go to the lodge down on Russell?
Yeah, that had to be that. I think that was the only one.
Well, I was really confused about where...
Because there's Mason and the Elks. I think
Yeah.
he was both.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere I have papers. I know my mother was Eastern Star. Because we used to go to their things.
Were you involved at all?
No. Only going with them because my mother and Abel Gordley's mother were real good friends. That's
okay. Faye, is that
yeah.
Faye
No,
too?
no. Faye was the dad.
Okay, I know one of them was named after
Beatrice.
Beatrice. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And my mom were in Eastern Star together. So that's how we all met. And Mr. Gordy was a railroad guy.
So your father, when he joined the Elks was in the Billy Webb's Elks Lodge by then.
Across the street.
On Williams and Tillamook there.
Yeah.
What is that
Well,
building?
no. Let me because it was the Y was there first. I remember
The
the
Y and then the USO
I
in the
remember-
40s.
No, yeah, USO. I remember the Y because maybe that was part of the Elks then. Because, yeah, we used to go over there for games, so it must have been part of the Elks.
Yeah, I cannot figure out when the YWC actually ceased operation in
Right.
there.
Yeah.
It's real confusing.
And then I remember the other one on Russell. We used to go to stuff there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad was at Mason and at Elk.
And so the one on Russell is where the Prince Hall Lodge is still.
Yeah.
Do you remember being in there?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
And I always thought that lodge got displaced from the Coliseum, but in fact what I'm finding that it was there before then.
As long as I can remember, it was there. Remember dances there and different things? Yeah.
What about, were anybody in your family active in any, like the Urban League or the NAACP or the civil rights kinds of activities?
Not in terms of coordinating anything. My dad, he worked
Worked
7
all the
days
time.
a day, seven
Yeah.
days a week, and so that part. And he supported them. He would do things because there were always people wanting donations.
Well, yeah, you were a business.
Yeah,
And,
but mainly what he he was always worried. Because he lived the South, so he didn't want. I think he was real protective of us. When we started talking to Millers and stuff, he didn't want. Because mainly me, because my brothers were into their own stuff. But he was always worried about the consequences, and he had seen what could happen.
Yeah.
He wouldn't back down from anybody, but he didn't want to. He didn't,
want to advocate that.
No, he didn't. He didn't want us. He didn't want me to get so far into that stuff, and he didn't get into it. But he would support, anything, and he was opinionated, and he'd tell his opinion. But yeah, he would, but his support wasn't, committees and stuff like that. He didn't do that.
The article was saying that when it initially opened, the community didn't support.
Right.
Did that
It's
change or?
At times, and basically when Malone that had the store in Killingsworth, he was going out of business.
Oh, yeah.
Malone.
And he was talking
Robert.
about Robert, yeah, because I remember him. And I wanted to show him this article because he was saying the same thing. The community wasn't supporting, and we need to support this store. But and this is the same thing that they were saying here. Integration was coming, and people could go uptown. They came to my dad when they needed stuff. People probably still owe him, So, you could sign a note, and he was generous to a fault. But for the most part, people, when they could go to Keno's and they could go to Safeway, they went. They came to him mainly for the meat, and a lot of times when they needed stuff. Didn't understand the concept, Safeway could buy 10 cases and they could sell it for a quarter. We buy one case and they have to sell it for 40 cents, but it's okay if it's free.
Oh, yeah. Oh, people still say that stuff today.
I know
and they're
I know
right.
they do.
They're absolutely right
they do.
about it.
I know they do, yeah. And I say, it's really kind of strange, when you look at the, the things always, the things, full circle, yeah.
McKinley was telling me about, Reverend Jackson and Charles Maxey organizing a picket of Safeway stores because there were no black employees there.
Yeah.
And he said, boy, we'd shut that store down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reverend
Jackson
Yeah.
from and all of that.
John Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He's McKinley says Reverend Jackson could organize a march at the
Yeah.
drop of a
Yes.
pin.
Yeah.
That was the most effective way to call attention
Yeah.
to what you needed to
Yeah.
call attention to.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was a pretty powerful man
Yes.
if he had the partnership of Ron Herndon. Because back then there were not too many religious leaders who could, grab the attention of a young
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
militant, you know what I mean,
Oh,
or
yeah.
a young activist. They
Yeah.
didn't really look at religious leaders as,
Yeah. Well, he
they
was,
didn't respect them very well.
He was it because when Ron came, they came to go to school. So he wasn't, he's not an Oregon product. But,
Right.
Yeah.
But remember when he had all black hair? No, he was gray. He was a gray-headed old man. And he's younger than me.
Now, was
Was he
after
about
the Head
50?
Start?
He's younger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a little, I'm 46.
Yeah.
I know he's just a few years
Yeah.
ahead of me somewhere.
Which I know Ron is now national chair of the Head Start program.
Right.
And you said you also worked with Head Start when you left graduate school.
Yeah.
Was you guys working together? Or he wasn't,
He wasn't
involved
in
in
it.
it yet?
No. This was. I graduated in June. I got the job, and I only stayed there 2 months because I knew I didn't want to do that. But yeah, no, I remember Ron when he first came. And they had the talking book store,
Mm-hmm.
and then when they had the school. So one time I was
Right there on Morris. That's where the
Well,
school was
yeah.
initially. And then Williams was where the...
the bookstore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in here we've overlooked your mother's name.
Theresa. Theresa. Like Theresa, but I don't know why they say Theresa.
Because it's prettier.
Yeah.
What was her maiden name?
Jones,
And where was she from?
Arkansas, Earl, Arkansas. She and my dad were kids together.
Romantic.
Yeah. Mushy stuff, yeah.
Today we don't have any concept of staying together for that long.
No, well, they knew they were raised up, and then my dad went to Minnesota, and then somehow they got back together in 45. In fact, I found the letter my dad wrote to my mother's father asking for her hand in marriage.
Oh.
Yeah. And my grandfather's reply.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And their love letters.
Oh.
And when my dad died, we were going through this, and my brother said, "Did you read it?" And I started to read. I couldn't read it.
Yeah, but
But I have them. I got them all in the book. I have them, but I couldn't read that. Because I never remember my dad ever giving my mother a card as we were growing up. But these mushy things.
I've seen my dad's
Yeah.
letters to my mother
Yeah.
from the army, and I read those, and go, my dad wrote this?
Yeah. Or sent it.
Yeah.
I bought a card,
Uh-huh.
yeah. He didn't start buying cards. This card I remember getting from him is, after my mom passed, he got me this real expensive Christmas card. I couldn't believe it. I never got a card from my dad. I got a card that says Mom and Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote his name because I could read it, but yeah.
What do you remember about the First AME Zion Church was on Williams there, right next to the Billy Webb's Elks Lodge.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
what happened to that church? Was there a fire or?
No, they just moved. First,
They moved. They moved up to Skidmore and
Skidmore.
Vancouver, and the building's gone. The church building
Oh
is
yeah,
gone.
but it was a little hole in the wall thing, and then it wasn't a bad church. And something else came in there. I don't remember what, but I think they mainly went for space because it became, it's a bigger church.
So you think it moved because of the size of the congregation?
Yeah. No, it wasn't. As I recall, I don't recall it being a fire.
Well, I just can't. I mean, it was still there in like '62.
Yeah, because they've been up here. Then I don't remember who, Reverend Thompson was the first preacher I remember the name. Now he's in Seattle, but yeah. Because I remember his wife, Deetta, also worked at the store. She lives on Killingsworth, or Ainsworth, up the street, yeah. But yeah, Reverend Thompson, which was moved from the Williams to the one on Skidmore.
Well, in 1925, maybe it was 1927, but somewhere in there, 25, 27 or so, that first AME Zion embarked on this major church improvement program there and building a parsonage, and spent, from the sounds of it, big dollars for that time and detailed some what sounded like some really high quality work. And I'm thinking, 40 years later, the church is obsolete, but that's a congregation size issue.
Yeah, because I can remember on Sunday mornings, cars would be parked all the way, to the outlet, and all of it.
So you remember something else then coming into that church building?
Yeah, but I think I do. I don't, I could be wrong, but I don't.
And then the church came down, and that property's vacant, and there's those two houses next to it.
Yeah, but there had to have been something in between there. And I don't remember what was there. I wonder if it could have been Reverend Boyd. No, was Reverend Boyd, didn't he go? I'll start me lying now, because I don't remember what happened to him. But I thought Reverend Boyd did something, but...
Reverend Boyd's name, so.
Yeah, Reverend Boyd.
From which church?
So I don't remember. We always call him, he's the one that sold the pies. In a little shopping cart. People waddling up Williams Avenue in a shopping cart. Sweet potato pies. You know who knows him is Mother Dear.
Oh, I bet you would.
She and I remember because Reverend Boyd's wife did hair in there, because they lived on Williams. And we were talking about sweet potato pies, and then I was telling about Reverend Boyd, and then she made me remember who she was, because his wife did hair, but she was a customer of Mrs. Boyd, so was I. So she made me remember where his church. His son was a preacher too, I think, Reverend Boyd's son, because they used to live on...
That name,
Yeah, Reverend Boyd, he's about 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide, and he'd be in that little cart. He'd be in that little cart all day.
I bet his pies were good.
See, I didn't eat sweet potatoes. Didn't agree with me.
My mother's thing.
Yeah, but you'd be selling them. We'd buy them. Or my dad would buy them. But yeah, he had the little that's the first time I saw the little miniature ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
If thinking about Vancouver Avenue in Flint, where so much of that has been displaced from all that hospital construction. But do you remember the Mott Sister Style Salon over there? There was a woman by the name of Beatrice Mott Reed. She apparently had been married to somebody named John Mott. And she worked by 19, you're probably a little too young to, I can't figure out exactly when she passed away, but she was still in a house on Vancouver at 2107, right on the corner, and she was working at Miller and Tracy. She was the first black employee at a mortuary, a white mortuary, and she was Sherman Pickett's cousin, or sister, and she had some nieces, and they all ran this dressmaking business in this house that was called the Mott Sister Style Salon.
Okay, where was it?
It was at 2107 North Vancouver. It's a white house. It has aluminum siding on it now. It's there on the corner, and it's kind of standing there sort of all by itself.
Vancouver.
Does her name ring any bells?
The big house there.
It's fair-sized.
Vancouver and Tillamook?
Yeah, it could be.
But they didn't live there all the time, though.
No, I can't I lose her after 1960. She just disappears from, all of the records, and nobody from her family is still in that house.
Okay, but they ran the business out of that house?
Mm-hmm. And people in the family, she lived there for a long time. She was there from the 40s on, but I'm not.
Because there was a lady, but they bought that house recently. She works at Caldwell Mortuary.
Is her name Osie?
See, I never...
Or Oaksy or something like that. There's three
name.
nieces in the Mott family, and Letitia Brock told us
You know,
there was a girl that Osie Mott was still alive and was working at Caldwell's Mortuary.
Right, because the grandmother owned the house. I remember, yeah. Or some relative,
Somebody
and they
in the
moved.
family.
Yeah, great big house,
Mm-hmm.
west side of the street.
Right.
Yeah,
Right on the corner there. And you think she's in that house now?
I thought they had, see, I'm thinking when I left Portland, but this particular lady moved back into that house. That's before everything started. So that was in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the late 60s, 70s.
About how old a woman is she?
Well, she was older than me, so she'd be in her 60s or 70s. She was a friend of my dad.
They just need to call the mortuary.
Yeah. But, or Ronnie would know, because Ronnie, she was in the house when he was still living there, across the street from, they lived right across next to the old cotton club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it was the grandmother's house, or the mother's, I don't remember whose grandma. But then remember the mortuary lady moving in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember first name. I wasn't allowed to call anybody
Yeah.
by the first
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
really.
So
Do you remember calling her Mrs. Mott?
if I called her anything now, it would have been,
Yeah.
or either by the husband's first name. Like there was a guy who owned a car repair store. We called him Mr. Chester.
Mm-hmm.
And his
Yeah,
wife was-
Chester.
Yeah, and see, I always thought Chester was his first name.
Mm-hmm.
But we had Mrs. Chester. She never had a name. But yeah. Or have you talked to Mrs. Brown? Now she's her mother had the house. There was a group of houses together, and they were
On Rodney.
Yeah, we were. But Mrs. Brown was the only one. I think it's still there. I have to look up her name. I can't remember when was.
I was just looking at, I copied the directory pages for a series of years on Rodney because so many people lived there, and I copied them when we were planning to go and interview Harold Gaskin, because his family lived up there.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that stuff again yesterday, and having refreshed my memory and being back in the newspapers from the 20s, I mean, even in the 40s and 50s, a whole lot of these people are still there.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Yeah. Now, is Harold, he was married to Hattie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she was my professor at graduate school. And her mother her mother and my grandmother were real good friends. Grandmother lived on Tillamook, owned I don't know if that's still there. It's a fourplex or duplex. And she owned it right.
Tillamook and
Rodney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that fourplex that's here. I think it's blue.
Yeah, or greenish or something. Yeah.
So Hattie Gaskin's mother lived there.
Yeah, I always liked Hattie.
What did she teach?
She was one of the teachers there in graduate school. So I don't. But my first placement was with. You had to do field placements with welfare department, and she was my placement supervisor. And then she taught a class, and she was also advisor. Minority students had a coalition graduate school, and she was our advisor. But she was really, instrumental in keeping us all there. And she was, even after I graduated, we stayed in touch, and she was sick, and so I think she died right after my mother. Or did she die before? But
And we haven't been able to get together with Mr. Gaskin, but at some point he left Rodney and bought
Yeah.
Dr. Unthank's last house down on
So-
Southeast 29th.
Oh,
So I
Yeah.
haven't quite figured out yet when he left.
yeah,
Rodney.
it's been gone because I don't remember them. I remember the mother,
Mhm.
her mother, but I knew when I knew Hattie. It was in the 70s when I was in graduate
Mhm.
school, and then she told me that we knew each other from because she
Mhm.
knew my family. But yeah,
Do you remember a man on Page, North Page and Vancouver named John Norwood? There's 3 houses there, and he's in the second house in from Vancouver.
okay. Now remind me where Page is.
226 North Page. It's,
Page is.
I should have gone out and got that book, one for you before we got started.
I know that it's by Elliot,
Mhm.
where Elliot was.
Page is right down in here.
Oh, it's a short street.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one of those short streets, and this is Flint.
Okay.
And
yeah.
this is where Vancouver comes and kind of
Right.
curves around here.
Right.
There's a this is Beatrice Mott Reed's
Okay. Yeah.
house right
okay.
here.
Yeah, and we
And
were
this-
there. Yeah.
and this is John Norwood's house. I think that one of these is B.F. Chester's.
Yeah.
I'm
He
not
was on.
sure.
Okay. If this is the west side,
Uh-huh.
that's him.
Mm-hmm.
Right at the other side of where the
Mhm.
Cotton Club
Mhm.
was. Okay, what
His name was John Norwood, and worked for the railroad, and then he shows up in the directories being called a reverend, which means he was preaching at some church
Yeah.
somewhere.
Because there were a lot that we just called him Reverend.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
too.
You don't
A lot
know
of
my
them
name.
came from Danforth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember some of that. But no, that name doesn't
And
sound
he
familiar.
shows up there for the first time in... See, one of the difficulties is that between 1943, there was a directory published in 1943-44. Well, then there's this major population boom through the war for the
Mhm.
shipyards and all of that, and there were no directories published until 1950.
Oh.
And because, the war stopped so many
Yeah, right.
kind of annual and regular things that were going on. So
Uh-huh.
tracking people between 1944 and 1949 is almost impossible unless you can find somebody
Right.
that remembers things or they're listed in a newspaper
Right.
from that era for something. So it just makes, one of the reasons I'm so concerned about those properties on Vancouver and Flint and all of that is because one of the light rail alternative lines
Just to come down.
is proposed to come down Flint and take out
Yeah.
a number of those houses. And so trying to document more history
Right.
than what we already have is real important to me.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
we don't have
Yeah.
just another whole wave of
Yeah.
displacement.
Yeah. Now the Stoudemire's that we talked,
Uh-uh.
because they've been there forever, and their house is still there.
Where are they?
They're right across from, what is it now? Elliott School, Tubman, the
Mhm.
greenhouse right on the corner. Is that?
You're
that's the house.
kidding me.
Yeah, the
That's on the
Stoudemire.
corner of Page.
Yeah.
It's right next to where John Norwood lived.
Okay, then
And
they
the
would.
greenhouse, and it's Stoudamire.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, the Stoudemire. Yeah.
How old are the people, the
They have a lot.
Stoudemires who live
A
there?
lot of them. Well, I think the mother's still there. So, or the
I'm not
sister.
sure. I know they have a lot of, the kids are really athletic.
Yeah. The kids that were in art, well, they were younger than, some
Yeah,
were
I think
older.
they're even younger than me.
Uh-huh.
The ones that recent, when you're going to want to pro basketball.
Yeah, but I
or
don't know.
something?
I'm trying to figure out what Stout, if he's got to be one of, but no, the Stoudemires that were in my generation, they were a couple years younger than me. So this is their
Might-
uncle,
might be
yeah,
their children
yeah.
or something like that.
They were real. I mean, they were all into sports and
Really?
scholarships. Yeah,
family legacy.
Yeah, but they.
So it's a big family.
Mm-hmm.
And
Huge
a big,
family.
And the aspect of the family that's still in that house is who do you think that is? Is it an elderly woman, or is it a couple, or a family, or?
I think Carolyn is the sister. She's a few years younger than me. I think she's still there, but it may be the mother too, because mother may just be in her late 70s. But some of the Stubbs are still there, because her name is.
Well, that house is definitely on the to come down list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's impeccably maintained.
Yeah.
And so I have a hesitancy to go knock on doors and talk to people and look like some meddler from somewhere. I wrote a piece in the Observer that I testified at one of the light rail hearings and kind of got pounced on by the Metro and the city people who were looking at me like I had three heads because I was talking about history in Vancouver and Page and Flint and Tillamook and all of those streets there.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some directly affected people that are right there and I don't know if people know about this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that they do. I don't think that anybody's actually gone door to door or sent notices or delivered information to people about kind of what's in store.
Yeah. But see, I think Carolyn is still listed in the poll, because a friend of mine was in town and he was trying to contact her to contact somebody else. But I don't know who knows. My neighbor knows Carolyn's number. I understand she works at Hattie's hair salon, but I don't know Hattie. I think it's on 15th. I'd have to find out. I could get her number, and I still have yours.
Yeah, sometimes when you just get an entree through somebody that somebody knows and goes way back with her, and they're willing to talk to you, and I mean, I'm on the side of the houses and the people that own them and the people that live there.
Yeah.
And
in fact, the other Stoudemire he's over Red Cross. Charles Stoudemire.
on Vancouver.
Yeah, he's one of the big wigs there.
Mm-hmm. I've seen his name in picture in the paper.
Yeah.
What time is it?
12:15.
Okay.
Let's see, have you 1 o'clock meeting?
Yeah.
If you're going to see Mrs. Hart next,
Yeah.
I'll tell her I said hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's a busy lady.
Yeah.
You think retired people have all this time, and they're in some ways busier than anybody else.
But she was always doing stuff.
I know.
Always.
She was just telling me all this stuff she's involved in.
Yeah, plus when my brother was in graduate school at D.C. at Howard, she got him an internship with, was it Wayne, whoever was the state rep then. I can't remember who it was, but she knew everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So she got him to hire my brother.
Did you ever know Otis Kane? He's an elderly man who's about 80, and he still lives on North Flint. He's in that house that's kind of, sort of, it's like would be kind of like off-white, but needs a coat of paint, and it's kind of sandwiched. It's next door to that, it's a commercial kind of plaster business.
Oh, yeah. And if he's been there long, I had to have known him, but I don't recall the name.
Do you remember the Moore family? They lived on Fargo, though, but it was Viola Moore. They had children your age, Jerry, Lawrence.
Yeah, but was it Moore? Was it Viola?
Lawrence.
Yeah, okay, on flat, because, Rose, Viola, and it's something else.
I mean, Julius Moore's wife?
Yeah. Her mother, she raised her kids on Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure. I think her mother passed away, and then her and Brother Moore had the house.
Mm-hmm.
But that Miss Otis King is Brother Moore,
is Julius Moore's ex-father-in-law. It's the father of Julius Moore's first wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you knew.
There's a Viola, but where did they live? Further south then?
Right.
On
Fargo. And she had what? Jerry Lawrence. and Renee, who my age or a little bit older than me, and she has a sister. What's her name? Who's your age?
What, Viola?
Mm-hmm. Viola had a daughter who's your age.
More. Yeah.
But I think their kid's name might have been Lawrence because she married Brother Moore later.
Oh, okay.
And they only had one daughter together.
Yeah, because, now I know who was there, like on San Rafael, before, like the Livingstons, Rusty Livingston. Because so I was told that we lived with because Mr. and Mrs. Livingston, they lived there, they were 2 doors down from my grandmother's house.
And no relation to Roy.
Just a coincidence, yeah. And she had 7 sons.
Goodness.
Yeah. And then, because they were there before we came, so we lived with them when we first moved. Well, I wasn't here then, but I was almost here, yeah. And then before we went up the street, because Grandma's house was full. And then the Butlers lived across the street. Rose Butler. Yeah, Rose and brother owns a travel agency. See, people thought, and some people still think Rose and I are sisters, and we both have a mole. And she has 4 brothers. I have 3 brothers. They live directly across the street, and I can remember, going into my grandmother's house, and she'd look at me and ask me, "Which one are you?" You think my own grandmother when I said Rose? Yeah. And see, I'm older, and Rose is grayer and taller. Yeah. Her mold is big, but she knows, and Rose knows everybody. She could tell stories. But yeah, they were there. I think they were there before we were too.
On San Rafael.
On San Rafael. And so,
Is her last name still Butler?
Still Butler, yeah.
I want to talk to her.
Yeah.
Rose. When you start sort of getting this list of names of people that were there and you're trying to sort out who's who or who did what, you can make some conclusions sometimes or reach some conclusions with not a great deal of information, but if you really want to make sure you're accurate, really helps to have somebody that was there or is there and knows lots of folks.
I remember who Reverend Boyd was. He was the pastor of Paradise.
Oh,
and he's the one who started AMA. But before there was like the Black Baptist ministers, and then it became, they started another group to include more black men from different denominations. Then they became Albina Ministerial Alliance to open it up to white ministers and immigrants. I remember Reverend Boyd's name.
Very good.
Yeah. Oh, Reverend Boyd, because his son was a preacher too.
Well, I think this is the guy who started the AMA. They started right after the war.
Okay, then it was
during the war when they got that concentration of ministers from Bamford.
Yeah.
They started
Yeah, Reverend Boyd was his son.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about how you got into the business that you're in.
Oh,
because I think it's so important.
Well, people ask me what made me get started, and I can't for the life of me tell you one thing that defined. When I was still in Seattle, and we were federal employees, and most people who were, particularly in the part I was working at, had something else on the side, and my friend and I, we were trying to figure out, something I could do, and he kept telling me, you're the queen of mail order, so you ought to, whatever it is, you got to do mail order. And then I was always into Afrocentric things, so I started, just wanted to do quality things, mail order. So videos was a small part. I only had one video because I had Buffalo Soldier statue. I was determined to have a video or a book to go with some of the
I got the video, and my friend Mickey, remember when we met at Gospel Fest when you and Michael and Catherine were up there, and me and my friend Mickey were there, and Mickey was going to get the statue for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
And because it was right after we just done the floral parade in '94 with Mark Little, and I was hyped. And I got the video. No, she got me the video instead. And I don't know why she decided not to get me the statue. But I remember meeting you and your partner at Gospel Fest.
Oh.
You and a lady that were there when it was Le
Oh, yeah. Oh, you do remember. Yeah.
And you got Quintard Taylor's book. there the following summer of
Seattle.
'95, Seattle's black community.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So had always collected videos.
Mm-hmm.
Always when when VCRs, when we first could afford a VCR, like in '84, I always recorded stuff. But as I got into, somebody by accident sent me a catalog, or not by accident, but they sent me a catalog, and I start remembering titles I had heard as a kid, and I ordered those, and then I put a few, as I was doing my catalog of other items, I put a list of videos that I found. I mean, people weren't buying the other things; they wanted the videos, and I got more into it. And I found books and started reading the books, and started reading the backs of boxes, and this lead let that lead, and so I let everything else go because people weren't buying that and focusing on videos. And
I always liked your books that you had out there at the.
I still.
Because I'm a big reader.
Yeah, I still sell books, mainly books on black cinema. But I enjoy, what I do. I don't make a lot of money. Profit margin isn't very big in videos unless you own masters of the vintage one. But I really enjoy what I do. This whole
the only
history.
thing you're doing now, or?
Yeah, no, I'm retired. I'm on disability retirement, so this I can do and sit.
Are you seeing interest in black films from primarily older people, or younger people, or everybody, or across the board, or how do you see the market?
I think the market is probably across the board, but because there are categories of videos. There are the vintage, the children's. I have one group that buys any children's videos. They'll buy. All I have to do is mention. There's one. If there's a group that works with disadvantaged, or not disadvantaged, but kids that need problem kids. That look for titles that could relate to them. I want people. It's my dream that they would look at it in terms of historical information, and they see some of these and they're slow. Well, then you can't compare 1920s to 1990s. I have a lot of people, and my biggest. So I'd say that the group is probably midway. And it's across the board. But the majority of my customers are out of state.
Really?
Oh yes, I couldn't survive. It was. No, I do local shows, but everything else is out of state, and for a while it was older people because people would.
They remember the movies.
Well, yeah, and then they call and tell me about it, and they're calling me long distance to tell me about the movies, and or either I get a lot of notes, that. This is the first movie, my father took me to see, and all this kind of stuff. So, and people, ask me to recommend, so I do, and then they call me, and so I have a lot of what I call phone friends.
Okay.
I have a lot of internet friends, who, I've been, fortunate in terms of George Curry, the editor of Emerge magazine, was here last year at a meeting I was attending. Just happened to be a vendor there, and we met, and he told his editor, his People's editor, she did an article on me. That helped, and then someone else read that article, and it's a magazine I'd never heard of, CD Review and the Arts, and they did an article, and then
I should find American Vision.
American Vision. I like it. A very expensive magazine. There's another one, because a friend of mine, he has original posters. Well, I call him. I've never met him. We've talked, but he sells.
No, won't be a friend.
Yeah, because he sells original posters of black. He wrote a book called Separate Cinema, and it's a picture book.
Where's he?
New York.
Cinema.
Yeah, and he has original posters. So he put me in his catalog. So. And I put him in mine, so we do the, of course, I always want his customers rather, because he has big stuff.
Top of the line.
Yeah, he goes all over the country and goes to Europe to buy films, and then he takes his film, and then my other friend in California has original 16 millimeter film, so they do like the Smithsonian sponsoring tours. They go all over the world, and they're going to South Africa
Oh
to
my
do.
goodness.
I said, well, take me with you. You know?
Boy, no
Yeah.
kidding.
So
Do you think you're the only person in the West doing
Oh,
what it
yeah.
is that you're doing?
yeah, you know, there are other companies that sell black film. Because my specialty are just the oldies.
Mhm.
So I know that I am the only one who sells old film.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another lady in Texas. And because some people, don't want to share information.
Yeah, no
I-
kidding.
So I had to figure out a way. I called and introduced myself, and that didn't work. We can't give out. I said, I'd be willing to share anything I have with you, just. So that didn't work. So I tried another approach, and I wrote to him, and the Oregonian had done an article.
The one on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
So
that.
I wrote
Like
it.
that in my clipping spot.
I wrote to her and sent her that. And I said, well, maybe this will let her know that I'm not just somebody, because people do call all the time. They want information or they want stuff from you. And I said, let me do it this way. Then we did talk for a while. Still can't quite, because she has some stuff that I had never heard of before, and a lot of it isn't new. Just like she has the whole thing on Black Wall Street, the whole section of Oklahoma that was burned down.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a movie of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
I'm working on her. So I don't give up,
in addition to movies, there's lots of there's documentary kind of stuff, but there's film footage from newsreels that a lot, there's stuff done with the Oregon Historical Society. There's got to be stuff that maybe some TV stations have kept.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know if you've ever spent any time talking to the film reel people down at OHS, but I bet you
That they have
there's stuff down there that to excerpt from and put together some local videos of newscast kinds of things. Because it's like when you look at local color and you see that Vanport flood footage, which is from a news broadcast, it's unlike any photograph of the flood you've ever seen. It's just captivating.
Yeah.
That's what happened when I went to the Washington State Museum, and they have this little theater where you sit down and learn about the Columbia River. And all of a sudden, I saw this footage of the Vanport flood. And I was like, wow, I've never seen this one.
It's real different.
I went to camp because they used to use that area before it was Delta Park. We had day camp there, Earl's Bluebirds or whatever. I remember, we could still find pieces of dishes and stuff out there. Yeah.
I'm surprised no one ever found dead bodies.
Oh, don't say that. Then the military used to have, that's where I learned how to drive too, because there were still street, pathways. So my grandfather, bless his heart, he was half blind. That's why he took me.
So you learned to drive and drive people around.
He didn't see I was driving with 2 feet. I thought that's why you drove. But yeah, we would go out there. There was a military truck coming out of it because they do whatever you call it, maneuvers out there. They use that part of it. That's when we left. But yeah, Vanport was fascinating. And I still get people who, when they find out I live in Oregon from the internet, they always want information on Vanport. Because there's a genealogy group that's on the internet, and they're looking for survivors and
There's plenty of them, and they're all over the place.
relatives of
Almost everybody that Kim and I have talked to,
what's that?
if they were in Vanport, they remember the flood like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if there's people looking for people they can't find because there was the number of people who was killed.
Yeah.
And it's like these people just kind of vanish. And everybody,
Yeah.
you have this folklore, you don't know if it's true or not about this number of people who really did die.
But nobody really knows
But
for
you
sure.
don't know for sure because they was probably from another state.
Yeah.
They didn't have relatives here.
Uh-huh.
But there got to be a group of people wondering what happened to Uncle so-and-so
Yeah.
or what happened to my
Yeah.
brother or sister.
Yeah, because he forwarded a message from somebody else to say, you know, this person came during this time. You know, they thought they were, you know, the last report we had, they were in this area around that time and were to do this and were to do that, but no one had heard from them since then.
So
Yeah, I say
that might be the way of proving that there was a number of people who drowned. And
Well, fine. Well,
The actual-
BCC Cascade is going to do that 50th anniversary.
oh, good,
Oh.
good.
And so what they had a thing in the paper. I went to Dean Mildred Awley, the dean there, kind of called together a confab of different people working on various subjects in kind of the overall world of African American history. Which is a good idea, bring everybody together,
right.
find out who's doing what. And at the end of that meeting, you know, she and I and Linda Elegant and somebody else on their staff were talking, and I said, you know, that 50-year anniversary of Vanport is coming up. And so it's so real for people who were there
Yeah.
because
And
they
they're still
talked to us
living.
about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like you guys did that Reverend Jackson Day where they videotaped people talking about their memories of Reverend Jackson. I mean, Vanport is just
Oh, yeah.
such a big event for so many. It was the biggest
Yeah.
thing in their lives. And so they said there was a thing in the paper last week. They want to have a symposium with presentation of papers like the one that we participated in February, and then they're going to have a big videotaping of people talking about their memories of that.
Because the city of Portland, they need to seek atonement about that whole
Oh, a
deal.
lot of things, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Well, is there anything that we haven't asked about that comes to mind that seems like that, you know, sometimes that you thought, well, I got to talk to them about this
Oh, no.
or whatever, because I know we're going to have some follow-up questions about people and, you know, some of the... I just am so concerned about the future of that entire residential community over there off of Williams Avenue with the light rail business, because they're going to the city's encouraging redevelopment of properties within 1,000 feet of the light rail line. I mean,
Yes,
that's
it will
way over
Yeah.
it, you know, well within and beyond, you know, in the area where you used to live.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's some very nicely maintained houses in there. Some of them are modest.
Right.
Some of them are very, very well maintained. There are some houses that could really use a little TLC. And
Right. Yeah, I mean, the community, pardon me, the community, if you're talking about that whole San Rafael, you know, Flint, all those, you know, that area's changed. So, I mean, it's kind of sad. You know, you want progress, but then at the same time, you want a lot of things to remain in some semblance of a community, because, you know, not all of it's gone, all that area around there has changed, but, you know, I would hate to see that part of the community go. I hated to see the store go, because it had been there for so long, you know. But, you know, I know, you know, progress comes, but...
no, it's not progress to me. That's
yeah.
displacement.
Yeah, because I know that, you know, I know for a fact that we only paid him $60,000 for building
In a business.
Business, yeah.
Well, when Bethlehem E got displaced out of the Coliseum in 1957, they paid that church $75,000 for a big brick
It was so
church.
beautiful. It was a beautiful church.
It was only built in the 20s,
Yeah.
or in the late teens.
Yeah.
And
That was my
20s.
grandmother's church, yeah. And they have at Bethel, down the street, they have the picture from the it's been from the
The
floor.
long picture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everybody's out there in
Well,
front
I'm
of
trying
the
to
church.
find her on there, you
Uh-huh.
know, but they won't let me touch it. But I want to make a copy of that.
Another one, the Oregon Historical Society has it.
Well,
Oh.
Mrs. Rutherford has that one too. She has a long.
The
She
long
had, remember,
long
she had it
one.
out in her dining room there
Yeah.
for a while when we were coming to see you.
She got the original one. They probably got it from her.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap it up and proceed on down to Mrs. Hart. And I
Yeah.
want to bring you one of these from the car, one of these books.
Is this the report you did?
No, this
No,
is
this is a different one.
This is the second.
This
Oh.
is what we're working on an expansion of this, and that's why we're so. It seems like we're obsessed about addresses.
Yeah, because mine was more a general social history,
Okay. Yeah.
and she expanded it to be more building focused. And the information, I think, is a bit more chocolate.
Well, sites from your book, though.
Yeah.
Into you guys, I love it. Love research.
Me too. I wish I had a chance to really do some research. I mean, I like the interviews, but I really want to get into some ideas.
Yeah.
If I had my computer set up, I'm waiting on my husband to set me up.
Mr. Intel is her husband, and her
Yeah.
computer's not set up.
And he keeps promising.